When she breaks your heart, the first instinct most men have is to react emotionally, to beg for answers, to plead for another chance, or to show her how much pain they're in. But what they don't realize is that this is exactly what fuels her ego. She feels powerful when she sees you shattered, desperate, and unable to stand on your own without her. That's why the strongest thing you can do in that moment is the exact opposite. Be silent. Don't chase. Don't argue. Don't explain yourself endlessly. Silence speaks louder than anything else you could ever say. It doesn't mean weakness, it means control. It means you understand your worth and you're not willing to hand over your dignity just because she walked away. Think about it. When you flood her with messages, when you keep checking on her, when you keep showing how broken you are, she feels validated. She feels superior. She feels like she had the power to damage you beyond repair. But when you step back, when you don't give her the reaction she's expecting, that's when her mind starts working against her own ego. She starts wondering why you didn't react the way she thought you would. She questions why you're not fighting to stay. And in that quiet confusion, her ego begins to crack. Silence is not about revenge, it's about self respect. It tells her you have control over your emotions, even in pain. It shows her you are not her puppet, and your world doesn't collapse just because she decided to walk away. It places the power back in your hands without you even lifting a finger. Words can be twisted, emotions can be manipulated, but silence leaves no openings. Silence makes her ego starve because ego feeds on reactions, on attention, on drama. When you take that away, you remove the fuel that kept her pride burning. And here's the beauty of it: silence gives you time to heal. Instead of wasting your nights writing long texts she may not even read, instead of begging for closure you may never get, you use that silence to focus on yourself. You hit the gym, you work on your goals, you upgrade your lifestyle. And slowly you start to realize you never needed her approval to begin with. That's when your silence becomes even more powerful, because now it's not just the absence of words, it's the presence of growth. She'll eventually see it, whether through social media, mutual friends, or just by remembering how much of you she underestimated. And when she sees you rising without her, that's when her ego takes the hardest hit. Some will say silence feels empty, but in reality, it's one of the loudest messages you can send. It tells her, I am not defined by you. I am not begging for your validation. I am moving forward, whether you stand beside me or not. That calm strength burns her ego far more than insults, arguments, or begging ever could. Because nothing unsettles someone with a big ego more than realizing they don't control you anymore. So when she breaks your heart, let silence be your weapon. Don't waste your energy trying to prove anything. Just step back, hold your ground, and let her feel the weight of your absence. Sometimes the most powerful way to break her ego is to show her you no longer need to say a word. Would you like me to expand key point 2 in the same 650 word natural flow style as well? When she breaks your heart, it's easy to feel like your whole world has collapsed. You start to lose yourself in the pain, you replay every moment in your head, and you wonder what you could have done differently. But the truth is, no matter how much you sit in that pain, it won't change what happened. The only thing that will actually shift the story is what you do next. And that's where your real power lies. You don't break down, you glow up. Because nothing breaks her ego more than seeing the man she thought she could destroy rise higher than she ever imagined. The moment she walks away, her ego expects you to sink. She thinks you'll be lost without her, that you'll spiral into sadness and emptiness. She imagines you drowning in loneliness, waiting for her to come back. That's how she feeds her pride. by convincing herself you can't function without her presence. But when you decide to flip the script and use heartbreak as fuel, you shatter the illusion. You hit the gym harder, you dress sharper, you focus on your career, you stack your money, you start shining in ways you never did before. Suddenly, the man she thought she broke isn't broken at all. He's better. It's not about pretending you don't hurt, because pain is real. But instead of letting it swallow you, you redirect it. Every time you feel that ache in your chest, you let it push you to do another rep, to work another hour, to chase another goal. That's how you turn heartbreak into transformation. And transformation is the most dangerous weapon you can have against someone's ego. Because while she's expecting your tears, she's confronted with your progress. While she thought you'd fall apart, she sees you building something stronger than before. The glow up is more than just physical. Sure, taking care of your body, improving your style, and carrying yourself with confidence is part of it, but the real glow up is internal. It's about becoming emotionally unshakable, about learning how to value yourself so deeply that no one can take your worth away again. It's about walking into a room with such calm confidence that people can feel it without you saying a word. That's the kind of power no heartbreak can steal. And when she sees that, when she realizes that breaking your heart only made you sharper, it cuts through her ego like a blade. What destroys her pride is not you trying to show her how hurt you are, but showing her you don't need her anymore. When she sees that you're leveling up, she'll start questioning her own choices. She'll wonder why the man she left behind is suddenly glowing with a new energy, drawing attention, achieving more, and living with freedom. That doubt will eat away at her ego, because in her mind, she thought leaving you was the end of your story. But you proved to her, and more importantly to yourself, that it was only the beginning. And here's the truth, the glow up is not for her. It's not about revenge or trying to make her regret. It's about you taking your pain and turning it into power. It's about stepping into the version of yourself that maybe you were too distracted to become when you were caught up in the relationship. It's about finally realizing your own strength. And once you embody that, her ego naturally suffers, because nothing bruises pride more than watching someone you thought you broke stand taller than ever. So when she breaks your heart, don't let yourself collapse into the weakness she expects. Don't give her the satisfaction of watching you fall apart. Instead, rise, build, improve, glow in every way possible. Because while she thought she ended your story, what really happens is that she created a new one, and this time, you're the hero she can never control again. Do you want me to continue with key point 3 in the same deep flow style? When she breaks your heart, one of the most painful things to realize is how much of your energy and emotions you've invested into her. You gave her your time, your trust, your love, and in return, she left you shattered. In that moment, the natural instinct is to hold on tighter, to fight for her attention, to try to win her back with more emotion. But that's exactly where most men make the mistake, because the more emotionally attached you remain, the more control she has over you. And when someone has your emotions in their hands, they also have your power. The key is simple but difficult. You must detach. Not in hate, not in anger, but in quiet, deliberate strength. Detaching emotionally doesn't mean you stop caring overnight, nor does it mean you suddenly erase every memory. It means you stop giving her the ability to dictate how you feel. It means you accept what happened, and instead of pouring your energy into trying to change your mind, you pour it back into yourself. The moment you detach, the invisible strings she's been pulling suddenly fall away. She can't toy with your heart anymore. She can't predict your reactions, and she can't feed her ego and your pain. That absence of reaction unsettles her more than anything else. Think about it. when you keep chasing, when you keep calling or checking her social media, you're telling her she still owns space in your mind, and if she knows she still lives there rent free, her ego feels satisfied. But when you withdraw, when you stop responding the way she expects, when you no longer look for her validation, that's when her ego feels the void. Detachment is not about revenge, it's about liberation. It's about choosing peace over chaos. And nothing breaks her ego more than seeing that you no longer revolve around her. Emotional detachment is also about self discipline. At first, your mind will crave her attention. You'll want to check if she misses you, if she regrets, if she notices your absence. But every time you resist that urge, you grow stronger. You begin to realize that the emotions you once wasted on her can be redirected toward your growth, your goals, and your happiness. Over time, you stop checking her updates, not because you're forcing yourself, but because you genuinely don't care anymore. And that's when you've truly broken her ego. When she realizes she no longer has any hold over your heart. This detachment doesn't just free you from her, it elevates you in her eyes as well. Because when you don't react, when you don't chase, she starts to question herself. She wonders why you're not fighting to win her back, why you're not showing her the pain she expected. That doubt eats at her pride because ego thrives on control, and now she has none. The silence of your detachment is louder than any argument you could have had because it leaves her ego starving. Because without your emotional fuel, it begins to collapse on itself. Most men fear detachment because they think it means losing someone forever. But the truth is, clinging never makes her stay, it only pushes her further. Detachment, on the other hand, makes her see your strength. It reminds her that your world doesn't end with her absence. And ironically, the more you detach, the more curious she may become, because one thing ego hates most is indifference. She may expect anger, tears, or even desperation, but when you give her none of that, she's left unsettled. And that discomfort is what cracks her pride the deepest. So when she breaks your heart, don't let your emotions enslave you. Pull them back, guard them, and protect your peace. Learn to detach, not because you hate her, but because you respect yourself. The moment you do that, you take back every ounce of power she thought she had, and you make her ego crumble under the weight of your silence and control. Do you want me to expand key point 4 in the same way, flowing naturally in 650 words? When she breaks your heart, one of the strongest realizations you can come to is that her leaving doesn't mean you lose your value. Too many men forget this truth and fall into the trap of thinking that being abandoned somehow makes them less worthy. But in reality, it's the opposite. Her walking away is not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of her choices. And the most powerful way to break her ego after she thought she could replace you easily is to show her that you are irreplaceable. Not by chasing her or proving yourself to her, but by building a life so solid, so attractive, and so fulfilling that she realizes losing you was the biggest mistake she ever made. When you glow up, when you detach, when you refuse to break down, the next step is to elevate your life to such a level that she knows deep inside she'll never find another version of you. This doesn't mean trying to make her jealous with empty games or fake displays. It means truly investing in yourself and creating a lifestyle that speaks louder than any words could. It means focusing on your fitness, your career, your money, your confidence, your skills, your mindset. Because the truth is, when a man becomes the best version of himself, he naturally becomes irreplaceable. Not just to her, but to anyone who ever doubted him. Ego thrives on the idea that you are lucky to have her, that without her you'll never find the same connection again. But when you flip that narrative, when you show that you are always the prize, her ego takes the deepest cut. She may not admit it out loud, but she will feel it. Every time she sees you leveling up, every time she hears about your progress, every time she notices you becoming stronger, sharper, more attractive, more disciplined, her mind will remind her of what she lost. And the thought that she let go of something irreplaceable will weigh on her pride more than any words you could ever throw at her. Being irreplaceable doesn't mean being perfect. It means being authentic and evolving in ways most people don't. It means building a unique energy about yourself, one that cannot be copied. When you walk into a room with confidence, when you know who you are and what you bring to the table, you set yourself apart. That's what makes you stand out long after she's gone. And the irony is, when you build this kind of presence, it doesn't just affect her, it affects everyone around you. People start respecting you more, opportunities open up, and life naturally rewards you for your growth. She'll see this, and even if she pretends not to care, her ego will bruise every time she realizes she doesn't have access to the man you've become. Most men think revenge is about replacing her quickly or showing off new relationships. But that's surface level. The real revenge, the real way to break her ego is by becoming the kind of man she can't replace no matter where she goes. Because she might find someone new, but she won't find another you. She might try to move on, but deep down she'll always compare, and comparison is the slow poison to her ego because it will remind her that the man she thought she broke is the man she'll never have again. So when she breaks your heart, don't waste your energy proving your worth to her. Prove it to yourself. Build a life so fulfilling and so elevated that losing you becomes her deepest regret. Because nothing crushes a person's ego more than realizing they let go of someone truly irreplaceable. Do you want me to carry this same natural 650 word expansion for key point 5 as well? When she breaks your heart, one of the hardest urges to resist is the desire to show her how much pain you're in. You want her to know you can't sleep at night, that you feel empty without her, that she hurts you in ways she'll never understand. But here's the truth. The moment you give her that satisfaction, you feed her ego. Her pride swells when she knows she has that kind of power over you. That's why the smartest thing you can do is exactly the opposite. Never let her see your weakness. Never let her feel that you're destroyed without her. The less she knows about your hurt, the more her ego suffers in silence. Ego thrives on attention. It thrives on reactions. When you cry in front of her, when you send long emotional messages, when you keep checking in to remind her how much you still care, you're giving her ego food. She may not even want you back, but she'll enjoy the idea that you're still stuck on her. It gives her control. It makes her feel powerful. But when you stop feeding that cycle, when you refuse to put your pain on display, that's when the cracks start to show in her ego. It's not about pretending you're made of stone or acting like you never cared. You can feel the pain, you can process it, but you don't hand it over to her as a trophy. Instead, you keep your dignity. You let her wonder what's going on in your head. You leave her guessing whether you're broken, whether you've moved on, whether you even think about her at all. That mystery eats away at her pride far more than open weakness ever could. Because when someone can't read you, when they can't figure out your emotions, they lose their sense of control over you. Think about it. If she expects tears but you give her silence, if she expects you to beg but you stand firm, if she expects you to break down but you hold yourself together, she starts questioning herself. She starts wondering why you're not reacting the way she thought you would. And that doubt is poison to her ego. Because ego lives in certainty. I know he needs me. I know he can't move on. I know he'll chase me forever. The moment you disrupt that certainty, her confidence begins to collapse. And the best part is, keeping your pain hidden doesn't just damage her pride, it heals you too. When you're not busy broadcasting your heartbreak to her, you're free to deal with it privately. You can channel those emotions into building yourself up instead of tearing yourself down. You can focus on your own growth, your own journey, and your own glow up without giving her the satisfaction of seeing you struggle. Over time, your silence becomes your strength. The world sees a man standing tall while only you know how much you endure. That's true power. Most men think vulnerability will bring her back, that showing pain will make her feel guilty or make her reconsider. But in reality, it rarely works that way. More often than not, it only feeds her ego more. What actually shakes her pride is realizing you're not giving her that victory. She may try to provoke you, she may test you, she may even wait for you to crack, but the longer you stay unshaken, the more it frustrates her. And that frustration is the sound of her ego breaking. So when she breaks your heart, resist the urge to hand her your weakness. Keep your composure, guard your emotions, and never let her taste the satisfaction of your pain. Because nothing starves her ego more than watching you stand tall when she expected you to fall apart. Do you want me to expand key point 6 in the same deep, natural 650 word flow? When she breaks your heart, it feels like the entire world caves in on you. The nights feel longer, the silence feels heavier, and every memory cuts deeper than the last. You carry that ache in your chest everywhere you go, and at first it feels like nothing can heal it. But what you don't realize in that moment is that pain can either destroy you or transform you. The choice is always yours. And the most powerful way to deal with heartbreak while also breaking her ego in the process is to turn that pain into power. Instead of letting it consume you, you let it fuel you. Instead of collapsing, you rise. Heartbreak has a way of exposing a man's true strength. Many fall apart and lose themselves completely, but some take that very same pain and use it as the fire that reshapes their entire life. That's what makes the difference. Because if you allow yourself to grow, every tear you shed becomes energy for your future. Every sleepless night becomes motivation to build something better. And every time you feel the urge to go back, you remind yourself that the best revenge is not hurting her, it's building yourself. That transformation is what crushes her ego, because she'll realize she didn't break you, she made you stronger. Think about it. When she leaves, she expects you to stay stuck. She expects you to drown in heartbreak, to lose your focus, to slow down in life. But when you take that pain and convert it into discipline, into ambition, into growth, she sees the opposite. She sees a man rising higher, achieving more, and becoming someone she never thought he could be. That's when her pride takes the hardest hit. Because ego hates being proven wrong. And nothing proves her wrong more than your success after she left. Turning pain into power can look different for every man. For some, it's hitting the gym and transforming their body until they look unrecognizable from the man she once knew. For others, it's pouring themselves into their career, stacking money, starting businesses, or chasing goals that seemed impossible before. And for many, it's internal, learning emotional control, building confidence, and creating a life so fulfilling that her absence doesn't even leave a shadow anymore. Whatever form it takes, the key is that you channel that raw energy into progress. Pain is energy, and if you direct it right, it becomes the fuel that builds a version of yourself that even you didn't see coming. The beauty of this transformation is that it doesn't just heal you, it unsettles her too. Because when she eventually sees you thriving, when she hears about your achievements, when she notices the glow in your presence, she won't be able to deny it. She'll remember the man she left behind and she'll compare him to the man you've become. That comparison is what eats at her ego, because she'll realize that the heartbreak she thought would end you was actually the very thing that made you unstoppable. And deep down, that truth will sting more than anything else. But here's the most important part: this growth, this transformation, it can't just be about her. If your only goal is to make her regret, you'll never fully heal. The real power comes when you no longer care about her reaction, when you're doing it purely for yourself. That's when the shift happens. That's when your glow becomes authentic. And ironically, that's when her ego breaks the most, when she realizes you've outgrown her to the point where her opinion no longer matters. So when she breaks your heart, don't waste that pain by drowning in it. Don't let it destroy you. Use it, channel it, let it mold you into someone greater. Because nothing is more powerful than a man who takes heartbreak and turns it into his fuel. And nothing shatters her ego more than realizing that the pain she gave you is the very thing that made you untouchable. Would you like me to now combine all 6 expanded key points into one continuous long script that feels like a complete speech for your channel?